Ellora caves, the Shiva temple over Ellora caves, they're all built out of granite. Why? One reason is its stability. Okay? It withstands the vagaries and elements of nature much, much better fashion when compared to something like sandstone or marble. Have you known about a sandstone temple, a temple that has used sandstone or basalt? Did somebody said yes? Where? Yeah, but where exactly? Do you know of a temple that has used such rock, a basalt? There is one temple, for sure, one temple in Andhra Pradesh, in the place called Warangal. It is known as Ramappa temple. What they have done is, they have used basalt. It is an igneous rock, and volcanic rock, and quite stable and very hard. At the same time, it maintains its integrity even after melting, because it just came out of that molten state. So, quite a lot of statues in Ramappa temple, they are made out of that rock. If you touch it, it is so smooth, with that kind of a 3D shape. To get that kind of smoothness, the only way it is possible is by melting it. They molded the thing and then gave it a polish. And then the floors, they are all made out of sandstone. The reason they used sandstone over there, they knew that entire area is prone to earthquakes. So they have put in the stone in such a form so that when the earthquake happens, the floor gets disturbed, but the pillars will stay intact. So today, if you go to Ramappa temple, you will see the structure, all the floor, the slabs, they'll all be uneven. Even the pillars, to some extent, they'll be bent or even crooked. But the entire structure, it just withstood. But otherwise, granite is the way to go. Mula Murtis, they are made out of granite. Okay, if you look at temples in Hampi, they are all granite temples. The Shiva temple in Ellora, it's a granite temple. The temple, that's what they say, it is probably the one and only one of its kind, where the entire temple is carved out of one single rock. Entire temple complex, not just the entire. The thing is, there are some rooms this side, some balcony this side, and a balcony the other side, and there is a bridge connecting the balcony. The whole thing comes out of one rock. Even today, it is a mystery for the modern engineers how they are able to do it. Because for them to, at that time, they have to do that, they have to excavate. It's called vertical excavation. They are not carving horizontally. They'll have to come from the top, dig out, and then make the shape. They have to take out 400 tons of rock every day, working 12 hours a day for 10 years, or 10 or 18 years to build that temple. And at that time, doing that kind of exercise is virtually impossible, but still it has happened. And where did that rock go? Nobody knows. But granite temple, what happens is that temple, it stands there even today, something that was carved several thousand years back. Okay? And the other thing is, the temple, the granite as a substance, it retains the vibrations, it retains the divine energy much, much more, how do you say, it retains the energy for a much, much longer time. See, what happens is, suppose the pujas stop over there for some reason. After several centuries, if they want to start it, all they have to do is just mop up the whole thing and start off again. Whereas, if you have to do anything else with any other kind of murtis, you have to follow a much, much more stricter rigmarole. Even here, the murtis inside the temple, they were earlier in a temple called Stroudsburg, about 200 miles from here. Okay? I think it is taken over, or at that time it was part of Sringeri Peetham. Okay? And then that temple was run by an American lady. Okay? But her name was some Padma or Durga or something. She used to, pardon? Parvati, yeah. She used to run that. And then for some reason the temple had to close down, and she requested our guru, hey, can you take these murtis? And he said, how can I take, because he was working at that time as an architect working, and then he didn't know what to do. He called his guru. Then his guru said, look, mother wants to come. Who are you to say yes or no? Let her come. She'll find her way. So that day he goes to the temple in Stroudsburg. A little girl just comes from some nowhere, just comes around him and says, Mama, will you take me home? I want to come home. Will you take me home? So he took that as a positive sign. And then he brought the murtis, and he had the murtis in his house for 10 years. During those 10 years, he was performing Trikala Puja for the murtis besides his regular day job. He used to do that. That's a big penance. It's a great tapas. He just put in his life, soul, blood, sweat, everything into what we see today. Okay? And at the end of 10th year, the when the crowd started increasing, it became, he sensed that public nuisance kind of issue, because people have several walks of life still be around. They may not, everybody may not like the situation just as much. So he decided, we'll build a new temple. He searched about 30 to 40 different sites. And when he walked into this place, the place where Mula Murti is there, at that place there was a tortoise, tabelu, of this height that has come from nowhere. It was there. So, that Kurmasanam, it is considered to be very auspicious, particularly for a female deity. So, he thought, okay, this is the place to be. And then this entire place was a barn, and it had an Ashvashala and a Goshala, a stable and a manger. So, their excrement and all that put together, aged over several years, it forms is a very, very conducive environment for a temple. And apart from that, you have got a small rivulet, actually two streams, one stream here, a part of the same river, Janasi River. That river, in the form of a small stream, it flows from north to south on this side, just about 200 yards from down the line. And then on this side, the same river, about 1.5 miles from here, the same river in the form of a canal flows from south to north. The whole thing, for the entire space, it becomes the so-called Vari Valayam or Vari Durgam. Where have you seen Vari Durgam in Puranas? Dwaraka. Krishna built it because of that. Krishna built Dwaraka because with that fortress of water around, not only will it give at that time logistical security against enemies, but it makes it a very, very spiritually reverberating place. Okay? So there are so many such reasons for this temple to be situated here. But then again, he had to start. He does not have any, he does not know of any precedents in history where the murtis moved from the temple into the house, into the Grihastha's house, and stayed there for 10 years and then came out. In northern India, they used to have, okay, and the invaders will come in, because North India used to face a lot of brunt of invasion, right, from foreigners. So they would take the murtis, hide somewhere, they'll go away, put it back. But that was a very short period. But here it is not like that, for 10 years. Then he was wondering what he has to do. Then in the dream, he saw mother telling him, why do you worry so much? You go to that place where your ancestors used to worship me a lot. By the way, my guru, he hails from Sri Lanka. So they said, she told him, go to that place where your ancestors used to worship me. You will get a solution. Then he knew the place where he used to, that place was Chota Nikara in Kerala. There's a very famous place for Bhagavati Devasthanam. Ambal, this one, Chotanikara. Then his friend in Chennai, my guru asked his friend, his name is Ramesh Kuttikad. And he is another Vittlacharya character. That guy, mother appears to him in the dream and initiates him into Mahashodashi. That's the kind of person he is. So he was asked to go to Chotanikara to find out what the solution is. When he goes to Chotanikara, he didn't know what to do. He just went there and an old, some 97-year-old priest, Engava, come, you want to know how to do the Pratishtha? I'm going to tell you. All on his own. He just calls him, seats him, and it explains how the installation should happen. 359 different places where Bali has to be offered. Bali means it is not some chicken or goat or something. No. Bali means it is Mudgalanam. Basically, it will have black gram and rice cooked and with some ghee and manjal and probably some cloves or something will go into it. This mixture is offered as Bali. Actually, the mung dal is equivalent to meat in the tantric terms. So they said he just drew a map. These are the places you have to do and all that. And that's how the installation took place. And before the installation really happened, a very, very uttama upasaka, we call him Sagar Bhaiya, he is no more. He did 25 lakhs, that is 2.5 million iterations of Panchadashi Japam. And did the Dharadattam of that energy into that Pratishtha area, here, over there. Okay, then it was installed. And if you look around the deity on the walls, you will see pictures. They are not some design exhibition or some photo exhibition or something. Each of those deities, they are the feminine representation of the phases of moon, from Padhyami to Amavasya/Paurnima. They are called Nityakala Devis. That's why each picture has got a yantra. And that yantra, once again, each yantra, puja and upasana was performed by one Uttama Upasaka, chanting that particular Mula Mantra for that particular Nityakala Devi 10,000 times. And then it is installed. That's why this temple, it looks like a barn outside, but inside is a spiritual heaven. Inside, the energy is reverberating with spiritual energy. Okay, the whole thing is like a person lying down. Okay, this Homakundam will form the Mooladharam. And then Swadhisthana Chakram is the Dhvajastambam. Though you see all kinds of decoration on the Dhvajastambam, inside the core is actually the trunk of a mango tree, extracted when the tree was flowering. Okay? And then, after that, the Balipeetam will form the Manipuram. And Nandi will form the Anahatam. Mahameru over there, it forms the Vishuddhi. And then, there is a small Shivalingam over there that forms the Lambikagram, uvula as we call in biology terms. And then we have mother sitting on Shiva, Shiva Kare Manche Paramashiva Paryanka Nilayam. That forms the Agna Chakram. And the main Pratishtha will form the Sahasraram. And all these are connected with 3 copper tubes running inside. Okay? And each tube has got a silver wire in it. That will form the Ida, Pingala and Sushumna, the 3 nadis in the body. So it's basically the whole thing is like a person lying down. So this is the kind of temple that is going to survive through another at least 1,000 years and probably 10,000 years, helping people of posterity to be elevated in the spiritual realm. That's the kind of history this temple would want to create, or this temple is ordained to create. So, if ever you would want to be a part of such a history, there are so many ways you can do it. Okay, we have got certain this programs like, say, $50 a month or $100 a month, lifetime subscription, so that you will not feel the pinch of financial this one. Okay, in fact, if 5,000 people can subscribe to $100 a month, okay, in 2 years the temple is done, it's ready. Okay, so this temple has got a very rich history, and it is going to go forward with that rich history to make the history even richer. And typically the question, okay, if we do that, what are we going to get? On the material basis, right now I will say nothing. She will give you whatever she has to give you, she will give. But if you ask me, okay, can you place my name in a big plaque here? Come on. You know why? Why do you come to the temple? To lose yourself, to lose your identity, so that you identify yourself one with the, call it mother, call it energy, call it the force, as in that Jedi Knights, may the force be with you, or may you be with the force. You come here to lose your identity and to become one with that infinity. And now you want to have a separate name? And then once again create one more identity? Come on, give me a break. You are doing something against what you really want. Okay? So that's the kind of temple it is. There are so many other programs. There's a community or a big family. Suppose, okay, me, my son-in-law, my brother-in-law, my cousin, my grandfather, and this thing. All of us put together, we want to sponsor a module in the temple. You can do that. Okay? There are so many ways of looking at it. You can even get more details at the office. With that saying, how many people, how many of you know about Guntur? Have you heard of Guntur in Andhra Pradesh? I think probably all Andhra people will know Guntur. Because I used to like the chutney, coconut chutney in one of the hotels, the Hotel Shiv Shankar. The coconut chutney and idli was very delicious at that time. There you go, Shankar Vilas. It is still there? Wow. I went there in 1980, early 1980. After that, I never went to Guntur. You know that Ravi Tutorials, CVN Dhan, Arundel Pet, CVN Dhan. I am a product of that this thing, okay? Then JNTU and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so in Guntur, there used to be an unassuming, down-to-earth devotee by name, what is that? Ranganna Babu. Have you heard of him? Has anybody heard of him? No. Then I can speak about it. Ranganna Babu, he is a staunch devotee of Rama. He doesn't do anything special. He just, in fact, he has a very strong physique. All he would do every day, and see, it looks like at that time, Guntur had a lot of water shortage. He used to carry water, in Telugu we call it kavadi, okay, a long wooden arm with two parts suspended at the ends. Okay, carry it on the shoulder. He used to deliver water to all people. That's all he used to do. And always, Rama, 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 Rama. Kuti, you may like to have a rubber band? Get a rubber tie. If you want a rubber band, it would be there. That's how he, in fact, you know what? There is one by name Michael Donangelo in Philadelphia. I think his name is Michael. We call him Don Mama, right? Michael Donangelo, right? Yeah. This person, because the reason I remember him, said Ram, Ram, Ram. For him, it is always mother. He chants Lalita Sahasranam 51 times or 108 times every day. He is a professional painter. He paints one picture a year. That's it. And he sells the picture And whatever money he gets out of, he just subsists on that money for the rest of the time. And he eats probably about a banana or something once in a blue moon. He doesn't even eat regularly. Whenever he senses some hunger, immediately his mouth will be filled with sweetness and his hunger is gone. He is able to sense the nectar from the Sahasrara flowing down. So for those people, they will not have a need for food. He has gotten to that stage. So like that, these people, they transcend to that levels. This Rangana Babu, this guy, same thing. He always heals Ram, 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 Ram. And on YouTube, I saw this thing in YouTube. There's several pieces on YouTube about him. He was so deep into Rama meditation. At one point, somebody comes and says, "Can I take?" And so I want to take some pictures. And then the people around him said, you have to ask his permission before you take the picture. So, no, why? It's only a picture. Let me take some photographer. He just took the snaps and all that. But then when he went home, he cleans the, at that time, his time was 1895 to 1979. That was his time. So during those times, you didn't have very great photography technology, right? You have to take the negatives, develop them, and then clean and all that kind of stuff. This photographer takes the snaps, he cleans. He was able to get the images of all the other pictures, other than this guy. He won't. Then he realized his mistake. He'll go and ask him, "Hey, I want to take some picture." "Okay, fine, you want to take it. So then after he took the picture, when he cleaned it, that picture, he was being a Rama Bhakta, he would have those, namams, 3 namams all over, on the arms, on the chest, on the stomach, and all and on the forehead and all that. Strangely enough, when they took the picture and developed it this time, the namam on the heart, the central namam, was replaced by image of Rama. Kodandarama's image manifested over there. The picture is there. They show him that picture. It was shown in that YouTube clip as well. You may want to look at it. He is always thinking of Rama. So much so, he was doing it, and suddenly somebody from Bihar, he comes all the way from Bihar. He was just having a vacation. He suddenly comes to him and says, "Yeah, I have some problem. Can you help me?" "Okay, what's your problem?" And he said, "Look, I am working in Bihar. In a rare occasion, I got some vacation for 2 weeks. I come here. Now these guys, they call me up saying that, want to come? Saying that, look, some machine has gone back. Come back and repair, fix it. Because you are the only one who can do it. So I can't go over there. On phone, I am not able to communicate. I don't even know what has gone wrong. Can you please tell me what has gone wrong?" This man, he is a Ram Bhakta, but he never really studied anything. He doesn't know anything. How can he fix? He said, "Okay, I don't know. Let me ask Rama." He just goes into meditation. Then he says, "Rama told me, it seems in that machine, there is some component called a governor. In that governor, there is a steel piece that is stuck in the governor. Because of that, it is not functioning." He doesn't know what a governor is. This Rangana, he never knew what a governor is. He said, "Some governor, it seems, is stuck." Then immediately he calls them and says, "Look, there is that governor. Governor is basically, that is the one that stabilizes, that controls the movement, the speed of a rotating system. Okay, that's what is a governor." So he calls them, "Look, that governor, there should be some problem over there. Check what is going on with the governor." So the people over there, they opened up the thing. Yes, indeed, there was a steel piece stuck in the governor, because of which it was not rotating. Once the governor doesn't rotate, the entire system, it comes down to a halt, because it becomes very unstable. Okay? He just says that. Suddenly he'll be sitting, in fact, he quotes an example where the person who posted this clip, his father was there with him. he would suddenly he'll just he'll be sitting in meditation and he'll say, now, today, Abhishekam is going on for Rama in Vaikuntha. Oh, it's such a beautiful sight to see. He just keeps on giving a commentary as to what is happening over there. And suddenly, now as all that is done, they are offering him Naivedyam. What Naivedyam? Then the people around, they started thinking, what exactly is it? Then suddenly, right in front of them, they saw a silver plate. And in that one, he posted the picture, okay, some exotic looking fruits. The fruit would look like, how many of you know the badminton? Not the shuttlecock thing. That yellow ball we used to have, right? Yellow fluffy ball. Okay? So the fruits, on the outside, it looks like badminton ball. Okay? And when you open the fruit, inside the pulp, it looks like the wood apple pulp. Wood apple means velagapandu. Kapittapalam. The pulp will look like this one, and when he eats that pulp, it doesn't taste like wood apple pulp. It tastes like sitaphalam. Then in fact, the poster's father also got one fruit. That's how we got to see the picture and all that. Then it seems he asked him, Ayya, what kind of fruit is this? I haven't seen it anywhere. He said, it is known as the Rama Karunamrita Phalam. It is not available in Bhulokam. It is from Vaikuntham, directly imported from Vaikuntham to Bhulokam for you guys. That's the kind of... so I thought I'd talk about this, In fact, the Rama, the other reason why I mentioned this personality is the Guru, my Paramaguru, his Guru is Swaprakashanandanatha. You can see his picture inside. For him, because of his meditation, he had the formation of Meru in his body. You can see him there, the picture there. So all the lines drawn, right at the heart, you will see the Bindu. Okay? More such stories next week. Okay? Come back. Right now, sponsors, followed by the first-timers, followed by the rest. Please move into the sanctum and converge towards the center. Stay away from Bhagavan Satya Sai Baba Sannidhi, Kamakshi Sannidhi and Bhairavar Sannidhi. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Come. Om Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shishivardham Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Yasyadviradavakpradyah Parishadyah Parishatam Vignam Nigdhanti Satam Vishwakshenam Samashraye Vigdhadvanta Nivaranai Kadaranihi Vignataviha Vyavate Vignavyalakula Pramatta Garudo Vigneva Panchadanaha Vignottunga Giri Prabhedanakari Vignabdi Kumbhodbhavaha Vignoghau Gagana Prachanda Pavano Vigneshwarah Patanaha Gajadanam Bhudaganadi Sevitam Kapitta Jambu Palasara Bhakshitam Umastam Loka Vinashakaranam Namami Vigneshwarah Pada Pankajam. Flowers. Parameshwari auntie, stay. Come. Come and stay here.